We're going to call the meeting to order. Thank you so much. Melissa, if you do roll call, please.
All right. Chair Crampton,
Here.
Vice Chair Ono,
Here.
Commissioner Benz,
Here.
Commissioner Buaya, here, Commissioner McEwen,
Here.
Commissioner Reed, absent, and Commissioner Schmidt.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Nate, if you would give the instructions for public comment procedures.
Yes, good evening, commissioners. Information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is available on this meeting's agenda, which is online at isearchmonterey.gov. Remote commenters, you will be muted until it is your turn to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen. If you are connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. In the chamber, we ask attendees, please keep your phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with tonight's meeting. Thank you for participating in your city government.
We do have people present. Is anybody want to make public comments at this time?
Madam Chair, that was just kind of the information on how the meeting will be run. We'll get to public comment later on in the meeting, and we'll have our first set of public comment after this first presentation.
Great. Thank you so much for the correction on that. We will now have the presentation on the status of the Parks and Recreation Department operations for June 2024 through October 2024. And this is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Karen, please. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. Thank you so much for being here this evening. We have a lot to cover. We had the tour last month, so we have a lot of update to do from summer through fall. We'll go through as quickly as possible. You'll get to hear a lot more from me because Louis couldn't come at the last minute and Bill is out sick this evening. So I will do my best to cover for them and fill you in the best that I can in their areas. He went quickly. So the dates are from June and through October. And that picture there you'll see is at our trunk and treat event that we had. And that is the Monterey Sports Center trunk. They did the Book of Life. Next, thank you. I want to give you a quick update because we don't get to talk about staffing updates very often, but we actually have multiple vacancies and we're recruiting right now for 2 facility coordinators at the Monterey Sports Center. One of them is filling for the facility coordinator in charge of guest services, which is Andrea Diallo. She got a promotion, is working for the city of Marina starting tomorrow. She has worked for us for about 24 years. So I'm going to greatly miss her. We're all really going to miss her. She worked for us for a very long time and had a lot of knowledge. The other facility coordinator is going to be in charge of the maintenance activities at the sports center. That is a new position that was approved in the last budget. So we're just now getting to that recruitment. So it was great that we could recruit for both facility coordinators at the same time. The other 2 positions next are park maintenance lead worker and senior park maintenance worker. We're actually opening those up as an in-house promotional recruitment. So hopefully we'll have some movement there where some of our park maintenance workers will move up and then we'll be able to recruit then for new park maintenance workers. We also sadly will be recruiting for the park operations manager for Louis Marcuzzo, because he will be retiring at the end of December. Another huge loss for working with our department for over 30 years. And then coming soon is the vet spark attendant up at our campground. Our great park attendant who worked for us for many years, Chris Mikowski, has taken a position over in the harbor. So we're lucky that he's still with the city of Monterey, but has an opportunity to work at his first love, which he said is the ocean and the water. So he really enjoys that. So he'll be working over there. And then we've also started a recruitment for a MIIS intern who's going to help our department for the rest of their school year. Next slide, please. Laguna Grande, I wanted to give you guys an update on that. We have had 2 board meetings since we've had a chance to to talk. And those are very successful in updating the board and the public on all of our efforts there. The permitting efforts continue with our consultant BFS. They do an excellent job and they work throughout every month, almost on a weekly or daily basis, to make sure that the permitting is moving forward. These are dealing with some very bureaucratic agencies that could be very challenging and time consuming, but we are making progress there. The Parks Division did have a crew day and continues on trail maintenance there. We're working with the City of Seaside on a grant collaboration with TAMSI and FORTAG. We were able to complete the CDBG projects with the walkway around the volleyball court, new picnic benches, tables, kiosks, etc. And you'll see some pictures of those there. And the Blue Zones grant project was also completed with beautiful bike racks. They're so beautiful that they look like works of art. They don't really look like bike racks. So we actually put little signs on there so that people know that they could hook their bikes up to those. And then a drinking fountain that actually includes the ability to fill up a dog water bowl. So that's really cute. We've done some joint programming with the Monterey Peninsula Regional Park District that has been very successful. Most of the programs are full with a waiting list. So we are extending and having more programs coming up in the winter and spring. Parks Division operations. I know Louis goes through this generally quite quickly in general, that we've planted over 1,000 plants and have abated gophers and buried sea lions, lots of seabirds. We've had to manage sea lions at 3 different locations. I could share briefly with you that I was in Yosemite last week and we were on a tour group with some people from England and they have heard about the sea lions in Monterey, California. They were very excited about the sea lions. So we've been working with special barricades and fencing to keep them off the rec trail, to keep them safe as well as the humans safe. We've prepped a lot of athletic fields, transient camp removals, coordinated volunteer cleanups, assisted with the breakdown of summer camps, and lots of weed control and fuel reduction. If you notice in that picture, we have goats. It took us years, but we finally got goats. It was very interesting that we've done such a good job with our fuel reduction that we almost weren't going to have enough food for the goats. So we were able to find some areas throughout the city that will be able to accommodate the goats in the off season. This is really fantastic because we're getting this service for free because it's the off season. So the goats get food and we get the clearing of the land in multiple areas throughout the city. So we're pretty excited about finally getting those. It only took 5 or more years to get that done. Next slide. Park projects. Tice and his team coordinated parking day and it was fantastic. It was very well attended and everyone participated throughout the city. Parks and Recreation, I'm proud to say, swept all the awards. We got 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. So that was great. I think Recreation Division got 1st place. Sports Center got 2nd place. And Louis doesn't agree, but they got 3rd place. But he thinks they get the grand prize for the whole thing because we've re-landscaped San Carlos Beach, Oak Newton, Lake Elistera, Alta Mesa Islands, the Rec Trail, and Jack's Park. Assisted with the setup and breakdown of summer camps, installed the extension of ADA accessible beach ramp, and the Green Cadre Beach Cleanup Project was blowing a lot of sand off the boardwalks. So that was very helpful. Forestry operations, I had kind of mentioned that we've done such a good job that there wasn't much food for goats, but we've continued the fuel reduction efforts with over almost 2,000 hours of CAL FIRE CDF crew hours and Greenbelt maintenance, Don Davi, Old Capitol Site, Veterans Park, Quarry Park, and Shady Lane. Monterey County Green Cadre with 643-hour crew hours assisted with the citywide fuel reduction. We had such good relationship with the Green Cadre and some of the students actually chose to come and work for us part-time. So that's been nice. We hope that maybe they'll want to stay and then someday work for us full-time. We continued with DLI tree project work, tree inspections, tree removal permits, worked on 677 trees and awarded tree maintenance and fuel reduction contracts for the city and the IGSA, which is the intergovernmental service agreement that we have with the Army. I have to tell you, it's a heavy lift to do those those contracts. We're so grateful that we have Sabina Gordon who helps us with those. And luckily we can get them for multi-year, so we don't have to do it every single year. But it's a lot of work to do formal bids. It's very complicated and a lot of important steps you have to take. And those were taken care of over this last couple months. So that was a great accomplishment to get that done before Louis leaves us. And then next, we'll hand it over to Shannon for Recreation Division operations.
Hello, everyone. So Recreation Division is special events, camps, community outreach, our field sports for youth and adults, El Estero, Hilltop, Schulte, and Casanova Park Centers. And I'd like to also say that Casanova Oak Knoll is not just, we've had a focus on North Monterey as well. So we're trying to address Montecito, Villa del Monte, Laguna Grande neighborhoods. So when I talk Casanova Oak Knoll, it sometimes is all North Monterey. So for community outreach and events, we had a busy time since we were last here giving you an update. We had our 4th of July celebration, which is probably 10,000 people here on Colton Hall, which had live music, children's entertainment with face painting, balloon artists, and live, like I said, live music from about 10:45 to 5, as well as food booths, which were a combination of businesses, local businesses, and nonprofits. Then we had our first ever end of summer splash event at Jack's Park, and Nate Coda, our recreation supervisor, took the lead on that one. But it was an all hands on deck. What allowed us to do that event was we had an end of summer event for playgrounds and day camp earlier in the day. We didn't break anything down. We just reset and offered it for the community in the evening. So working smarter, not harder, trying to be as economical as possible. We've also reached out. We've done the CSUMB Career Fair. We've gone to the Monterey Bay Parent and MPUSD Back to School fairs. Delray Woods had a specific back to school fair. We did also participate in Parking Day and won first place for Best Park. And our theme was We Help You Grow. And then we attended the Monterey Sports Center Halloween events. So we've been very busy.
Tell them who was in that picture.
Oh, that was Captain Jack Spare Ribs. So we're going to have to come up with something for next year. I'm not sure we're going to be able to top Captain Jack, but yeah.
So he did like magic and comedy, and it's very well liked by both groups that attended.
And what was good about that is it was a event that was also had the library, my museum, recreation did it in the evening. Kona Ice came, and then we're hoping to expand that next year with more participation from other city departments and divisions. So we also just had our trunk or treat and movie in the park here on Colton Hall lawn. It was our 3rd annual event. This was something that started post-COVID. We've always wanted to do it. So it's a trunk and treat. This year attendance was up, definitely. It's now a signature city event. So we had over 700 children and probably over 2,000 people total in attendance. And it was a great partnership because it allows us to have city departments provide their own trunk and treat. And then we also have some local nonprofits and businesses, Old Monterey Business Association, the Monterey Tennis Center. We had Ohana from Montage there, Blue Zones, just a lot of Monterey Bay Parents. So a lot of local nonprofits provided trunks. And then we also had some local food vendors that we've built relationships with. So you can come trunk or treat, kids come in costume, and then we have a movie this night. This year was, I'm drawing a blank. What movie did we pick? Hotel Transylvania. Don't know what the next year will be. But we already have the date. It's Saturday, October 18th. So we love this event. Then this is another event that's really developed, and we're again trying to address and reach all of Monterey. So it's a partnership that started with the Monterey Library, My Museum, and Kona Ice, and we call it Fun in the Park with Steam. every time we do this, the attendance just grows. So we were averaging between 350 to 400 at the Little Montecito Park. It's a multi-generation event. It's free, low stress program for the community. It allows us to build relationships while also working within our capacity to offer a great experience. And our next event will be Saturday, May 10th. So we can pretty much put the word out within 2 weeks and expect to have an attendance like that, because there's so many people who live in that neighborhood who are just able to walk down and join us. And we've been blessed with some really good weather. And so it's another event that we definitely enjoy. So Monterey Recreation Summer Camps. Like I said, it's been a long time since we've seen you and given you an update. We are offering more camp programs than pre-COVID, with enrollment exceeding previous summers. We were able to give 50 camperships, which are scholarships to attend camp. Our full camps included tiny tots at both Hilltop and El Estero, an art camp, a gymnastics camp, woodworking, beach volleyball, and our Via Paraiso playground site. Those were all full. And then we had very strong enrollment for Hilltops, Camp Kinsabi, Whispering Pines, Lego camps, and all of our field sports camps. So very excited about that. But as you can imagine, that's us spread across the city with only about 8 or 9 staff supervising all of these program sites and all of this for the summer. So it's nonstop from like May to August. So Camp Kinsabi is our youth overnight camp. It's at Toro Park. Many of you were able to join us for that tour. Thank you. We'll hope to do that again next summer. Overall, enrollment increased by 33% compared to summer 2023. So we were able to have 94 additional campers. It's still a little bit lower than pre-COVID, but that's okay. We're still every summer continuing to see enrollment build. We were able to provide 33 camperships to children in order to attend. And then we've already started planning immediately for summer 2025. It's just that much planning involved to offer this camp. So we had a great staff and directors this summer, and we are just going to continue to rebuild and reimagine Camp Kinsabi. Whispering Pines Day Camp is our day camp program. It's very similar to Camp Kinsabi. It's for 5 to 9-year-olds. So it's always trying to get them comfortable in an outdoor kind of camping environment. Hopefully they'll eventually transition to an overnight camp. Enrollment has continued to rise. So last summer, I think it was 80% of 2019. This summer is about 87% of 2019. We were full with a wait list for most of the summer. Rebuilding is an ongoing effort just because it's so difficult to keep staff and train them. But I would say that this is the first summer since COVID that it really kind of felt like a more like a normal summer for us. It was always the past 2 summers before really kind of struggling. The kids were kind of coming off of 2-3 years of not having a lot of social interaction. The staff were coming off of 2-3 years of maybe like Zoom classrooms. This felt like a traditional summer to all of us. So we're going to, continue the recruitment and retaining of camp directors and counselors. And again, hopefully being able to create an opportunity for children to transition to Camp Kinsabi. So our Summer Fun Playground program is been around forever. When it first started with the city, probably 70 plus years ago, it was completely free. It's slowly over time increased, but it's still the most affordable option for childcare during the summer. It's actually around $475 for 8 weeks for one child. So if you do the math, you can't afford a babysitter for that. And so what some parents will do is they'll register for this and then choose 1 or 2 other programs to send their children to like kind of augment the playground program. But our sites have also dropped over the years. I mean, we used to have like 11 or 12 playground sites. We're now down to 3, but those programs are full. Via Paraiso, it was full this year. We had a wait list. Hilltop was also very low. Overall, we had 140 participants. It isn't comparable to what it was when it first started, when it was just completely free. But again, it's the most affordable option for childcare. I would say that our Casanova program site was the lower enrollment, and we're just seeing that as because there's been a change in the Casanova neighborhood since the school district has closed a site, and just there's been a lot of changes post-COVID. So it was our lower program attendance, but still a nice site, nice program. So it's normally there's a whole slide just on youth field sports camps and everything, but we're kind of trying to consolidate everything. So for field sports, we offer flag football, track and field, basketball, challenger soccer, beach volleyball, and track and field camps with 263 participants this summer. We had a wait list for many of them. We also added youth baseball clinics for the summer. As soon as summer is done, we roll right into Pee Wee and youth soccer. We had 201 participants and actually 60 waitlisted participants. And that's just because we don't have enough field space to have that many teams. So when there's game days, which are on Saturdays, staff are there for like the full day. And it's just not possible to have like any more games. Like our staff just can't handle another, so many hours. We are wrapping up those programs and right now taking enrollment for Pee Wee and youth flag football, which will run December to January. And then adult field sports, we wrapped up our summer co-rec leagues. We had 54 teams with 810 participants. We are now just about wrapping up all of our fall leagues. So it's fall men's co-rec, women's softball. We had 49 teams, 735 participants, and then 30 baseball leagues with 10 teams and 174 participants. And then again, what we're going to do is roll right into adult ultimate frisbee, which will be December, January, before we get busy with spring softball, baseball. El Estero Park Center was also been very busy. We have strong enrollment in our youth programs, including dance, fencing, piano, and preschool. Gymnastics, every time we add a new session, a new class, it continues to fill, and there's wait lists. So gymnastics is booming. We added a kids create craft class that is full. El Estero also offered summer camps. So those Lego gymnastics art camps, woodworking camps, those were full with wait lists. And then we're bringing back kids night out events, which are events where you can call it kids night out or parents night out. Kids are kind of able to hang out with other kids, have a dinner, do some fun activities, and parents can either choose to go out on their own date or maybe holiday shopping or something like that. But it's however you want to phrase it, it's a night out for both kids and parents. And then we're looking to expand our and offer our youth cooking program. So Hilltop, it's kind of hard to see in that picture, but our enrollment is full for piano guitar lessons, our adult ceramics classes. Anytime those are offered, they're full with a wait list. We have people asking, when is the next class going to open? Blood drives, our Tiny Tots summer camp was also full. Enrollment is really strong for our Pilates, ballet, Monday Morning Stories programs. We also were able to complete a ceramics room update. We had a little bit of money given us in what we call equipment outlay, which allowed us to add additional kilns, and we had to pull the electrical for that. And then we got new shelving. So it's a nice upgrade to the space, done relatively affordably, because we've now got 4 nights of ceramics, and we're constantly, you have to do the bisque firing, then you have to do the glaze firing. So we're constantly running those kilns. So we have 3 kilns now. And that's just one of the rooms. We've expanded into a second room. So it's just a well-oiled machine. What's next? We are focusing on preschool enrollments, adding a morning ceramics class as well as youth ceramics workshops. And then overall, we've got hopefully some projects coming for overall improving the Hilltop Center, which you'll hear about later. Schulte is booming. It's so nice to see staff is working really, really hard. It's, I would say, feels like it did before COVID. Our senior luncheons have returned, which there's a photo there. We had this Halloween luncheon was our first one since COVID. That luckily is done with grant, a donation that we had. Someone gave us money many, many years ago, and we've continued to use that. We have a little bit of money left, and before that goes away, but that was the reason we're able to offer that. So it's a sit down lunch and then music and then line dancing after. So it's a full kind of afternoon of entertainment. We have our next luncheon next week, and then we'll have another one before Christmas, I believe. So current programs were booming. We also continue to do our Meals on Wheels program, which is now 5 days a week and just serving about 2,300 individuals. We partner with the food bank for Monterey County. So every Monday, seniors can come get a fresh bag of produce. We were able to partner with Aspire Health to offer a series of wellness workshops. What's next is Wednesday socials, which we just had one today. And that's a program where we offer a meal and dancing and entertainment for adults with special needs. So that we're really seeing expanding those programs. There's a lot of interest from Hope and Gateway to continue to have opportunities for their clients. Our special events are also kind of back in full swing. So we're going to have a pre-New Year's Eve extravaganza and then other events as we go into the new year. And then our Play Monterey travel program did return in the spring. We just released our trips for winter, spring. So there's holiday shopping, trip to San Luis, and a trip to, can't remember what the other one is, but yes, the travel program is back. So we're excited by that. And then, like I said, Casanova Oak Knoll is still, we're offering programs as capacity allows because we are still short-staffed. We're about 5 full-time staff have not returned. Positions have not been filled since post-COVID. So we are partnering with a lot of people. We've hosted community meetings. We've partnered with the state to get their initiative, do their outreach. The Bookmobile is there every Tuesday. We had a senior cooking demo with Blue Zones, and that program was very well attended, probably about 30 seniors. And so that's what we're seeing is definitely a demand for senior programs in that neighborhood. We also offered the Summer Fun Playground program for 8 weeks. And then the next thing we hope to add is family game nights, which the plan is to do it on the same time or around the same time as the Bookmobile so that people can come and check out the Bookmobile and then drop in for maybe one night is bingo, the next is like big games, the others, just different and kind of all be self-directed fun. So we're working on pulling that together. So what's next? Holiday meal kit distributions. I know you guys I've heard, we've talked about that it's a partnership with the food bank in the Kiwanis and also Monterey Fire, Monterey PD, Marina Fire, and Seaside Fire. We get meal kits from the food bank and then distribute them. We opened up the meal kit reservations for Thanksgiving, and without any promotion, it filled in less than 12 hours. So that's probably the fastest. I always say I think that what we're seeing is it's not COVID, it's inflation. Times are very tough. So yeah, it filled very quickly. We're still getting a lot of people asking for, can I get on a wait list? Where else can I get some assistance? But And then we also coordinate homebound deliveries from Carmel to Marina, which are delivered by the fire departments or the police departments to those people who are unable to drive, homebound, seniors, any of those. So that's November 20th. And then the next one will be, I'm sorry, November 27th and December 20th will be our holiday Christmas one. Another thing that we are working on is Donuts with Santa photo op, something we've been wanting to do for a while, but we're partnering with the fire department. And this is a program that we're really going to try and focus our marketing and efforts to the Via del Monte, Laguna Grande, Casanova neighborhood. It's going to be at the Montecito Fire Station 13. And it will be a chance to come and get a photo with Santa for free. And the idea is it to be kind of like our bunny hop photo op, where it looks like a legit mall Santa photo. That, now with the quality of people's iPhones and cell phones, you can get a really decent picture. So that's December 7th. What we're also continuing to do is work on telling our story and marketing, but also just creating community and having that build not just amongst our participants, but also our staff. So Nate Coda there in the photo started out the summer, and all of our marketing was best summer ever. And that staff person there was Nate Coda for the week. So she made her own hat. But we really tried, and Nate really took a lead on all of this. There was weekly awards for the staff and just trying to, bring everyone together as part of a team. So we're working on that. We're already preparing for summer recruitment. There is going to be a slight increase in minimum wage just due to inflation. So we need to take that into account when marketing our job openings, which will start right after the first of the year. Our other focus is also going to be facility improvements. You're going to hear more about that tonight with NCIP, but thankfully there's some new things on the horizon. And so we're going to have to focus on actually getting the work done. The other thing that we are doing is rebuilding and expanding program offerings based on staff capacity and budget. Hopefully with our intern, they'll be able to help us tell our story a little bit better, but we're also trying to see what is essential, like what do we have to do? What is the managing the needs versus the wants? Like, I want this, but do you really need that? And then what is the true demand for services? Because in the past, we've kind of offered surveys and someone has said, I want preschool, I want after school. Well, do you have children preschool age? Are they going to take our after school? And they're like, they're past that point. They're grandparents. So it's like also trying to figure out what is the true demand and who do we have enough enrollment to justify offering that program. So, but yeah, I would say that's all. There's a lot on our plate. I thought it was going to slow down a little bit after summer, and it really hasn't. It's just still continues to be very busy. And I think that's because we're still all a very small team. But I'd like to say, thank you so much to all of the recreation team. And not only that, but Louis' team. We couldn't offer the programs that we do without them because they helped us prep for Camp Kinsabi at Toro Park, day camp. They were all at our program sites. We use the athletic fields. I mean, it's just such a very close relationship that we have with parks because we use their outdoor spaces as our facilities. So, yeah, that is it for the recreation division.
Okay, the changing gears, the Monterey Sports Center. How are you guys doing? Do you guys like need to press anything? No, a lot of information. Just a little quick update.
Oh, your mic.
Just a quick update now regarding the Sports Center memberships. We're close to 8,100 memberships right now, which is matching our pre-pandemic levels. So that was the level we had in 2019. We're averaging about close to 12,000 weekly visitors, which is almost 2,000 people a day. And our revenue in fiscal 24, which just ended June 30th, surpassed our fiscal 2019 numbers. So I have to say the Sports Center has rebounded. I think you could safely say that the Sports Center is back. Sports Center. So what's new? We have 4 new pre-core machines and a new true leg press machine installed in the cardio room and a matrix lifting platform installed in the weight room. These were all parts of the reconfiguration of the cardio room and the remodeling of the weight room. These were some pieces that just came a little bit later, and we were finally able to incorporate them. We have an I Can running program. It's coached to help people, like, you can run a 5K, you can do it. And they teach people how to build on a running program and do so safely. You know, sometimes they think, oh, I'm going to go train for this 5K and I'm going to try and do that in 1 or 2 days. And that's sometimes how you get an injury. So we like to coach people through that. We have some new classes: Aqua Hit, Move It, Zumba Gold Toning, and Aqua Zumba. And we also have a Montage Health basketball and badminton leagues. Sports Center programs and camps. Martial arts session enrollment averaged 35 participants. This is a very popular program we've had for decades now with the same instructor, and he has trained generations of people. It's really amazing. Homeschool PE sessions averaging 20 per day. Youth Volleyball League with 47 participants and 8 teams. We had a pickleball clinic with 12 participants and 9 on the waiting list. And our summer and fall sports camp were full. Really had a record summer. We also now expanded our summer so that we actually try to cover PG and Carmel's breaks. And we're trying to get to at least like 100 kids a week. Sometimes those, I like to call them like shoulder weeks, are sometimes a little bit lower because all the Monterey kids have gone back to school, but offering those extra weeks to serve other families on the peninsula. Group exercise and personal training, 234 personal training packages sold from June until October with 2,224 sessions provided. We have the fall into fitness promotion with 20% off personal training packages. And in 1 week, we sold 109 packages. That's really big for us. We had 1,492 group exercise classes offered with almost 3,600 participants and our most 36,000 participants. Most popular classes include Zumba with 55 participants, functional strength, 45 participants, bone builder with 44 participants, and kettlebell workout with 35 participants. And I reached out to Lori Atay today to talk to her about a couple of things. And she's like, I got to go. The instructor just called in sick for bone builder and I can't cancel that class. There's over 40 people in there. So she went in and ran in and taught that class. So that was great. Community engagement. The Sports Center is doing its absolute best to be engaging with the community. This is a challenge for us because it's a very small staff, and we have to remember we have to hold down the fort at the Sports Center at the same time as participating things off-site. We participated in the Monterey Farmers Market, Monterey Bay Parent Back to School Bash, City of Monterey Benefits Fair and Parking Day, Monterey Plaza Hotel Wellness Fair, CSUMB Job Fair, and Canterbury Woods presentation. We participated in the Trunk or Treat event with Shannon's division, and we offered the Pumpkin Plunge and Dia de los Muertos events, which I'll talk a little bit more later. And we had the City Council tour on October 30th, which the public was invited to participate in that as well. Pumpkin Plunge and Dia de los Muertos. I have a couple slides following this with a couple more pictures because one was a brand new event and some of you may not be familiar with the Pumpkin Plunge. We do the annual Pumpkin Plunge. I think it's our 4th year, maybe 5th, but I think it's our 4th year doing it. This year we did it for free and 350 registered participants. So that was 350 pumpkins in the pool. And children actually like to swim with the pumpkins as well as pick their pumpkin from the pool. We did our first annual Dia de los Muertos event. We had over 1,000 people in attendance. I wish I could show you pictures, but it doesn't do it justice to show how full the building was. And when the event was over, people were still dancing outside with mariachi band. It was just really amazing. We had local food vendors. We had like a taco truck and other ethnic food. We had quality entertainment with all different kinds of authentic Mexican dance and Aztec dancing. We had a live art presentation where an artist came with a blank canvas and then throughout the night was painting about the event throughout the night, how he was inspired by Dia de los Muertos. So you'll see that we have a piece of artwork at the end of the night that reflects the evening. There was children's crafts booths, face painting. Local nonprofits also offered activities and crafts and free giveaways. City departments participated, like the library and the police department and the recreation division. A lot of participation there. And then Montage Health was also a co-sponsor for the event. And they offered activities for children as well as information that supports families. And for example, services they offer at Ohana. And then they also had sponsored our t-shirts this year. So they gave away Dia de los Muertos Monterey Sports Center t-shirts. And so I have a couple of pictures to show you. So this is the pumpkin plunge. So if you've never seen all the floating pumpkins, that's kind of what the small pool looked like, and children picking their pumpkins. And then you see afterwards this year, children then outside participated in the different crafts and different events out there, as well as had tacos and other yummy food. Churros were also very popular. I heard that was one of the best booths. Some people said some of the best churros they've had. So that got rave reviews as well. And that the Dia de los Muertos, they had the iconic altar that was just absolutely beautiful. Arts and crafts, the mariachi band, the staff was dressed in traditional dress, beautiful face painting. And you could see the artwork up there on the right-hand side. And we do have videos and things of the dance. If you guys wanted to see any of the performances, maybe I can send you a couple of videos if you'd like to check it out. It's really hard to get a feel for the event. We actually just transformed the facility. There was decorations everywhere. The sun deck had beautiful decorations with pumpkins that had flower displays inside of them, outside cocktail tables, people having food, listening to music. It really was, for an inaugural event, it was really, really beautiful and very well done by the staff. Our aquatics programs tend to still be very, very popular. We had over 2,000 group swim lessons provided, and 3,000 private and semi-private lessons offered June through October, offered 2 lifeguard certification courses and 2 CPR classes for our staff, 435 lane reservations with 122 groups. Just to give you an idea of some of them: Special Olympics, therapeutic multiple sclerosis, Naval Postgraduate School, senior classes, Monterey Fire Department training, California Junior Guards, Monterey Bay Aquarium, and Hopkins Diver training. For the Sports Center, what's next? Our holiday fitness membership sale, that will be coming up. That starts on the Friday after Thanksgiving and runs through December 31st. Then in January, we try to pump everybody up with their New Year's resolutions, and we give a promotion, do a promotion for personal training. We'll be offering our out-of-school winter programs and camps. We'll be continuing with our Montage Health series, which has been very popular so far. Fingers crossed that the natatorium project actually begins. That is going to be replastering both pools, replacing and resurfacing the pool deck, including the restrooms there on the pool deck as well. Some of the tile and the coping. I'm hoping everything will get a fresh coat of paint, fingers crossed. And hopefully we could also time it with a dehumidifier replacement. Right now, we actually have a temporary dehumidifier, and that seems to be helping a little bit, but we really need to get that new one in as soon as that is built and ready to go. We have a cafe RFP out right now, so hopefully, I don't know if you guys knew, but we did open the RFP once before. We had to reject 3 bids. We reopened it, and we hope to get another set of applicants that we can choose from. I'd love to have a bid awarded by the new year, but we'll see. And then right now, as we speak, the gym and Studio One floors are getting a protective coating. It's about a year overdue, so I'm very excited to get that going, especially before the rainy season comes. I'd really like to have the floors protected in case we have any leaks or anything like that that could possibly damage or warp the floor. And then we wanted to dedicate this page to Louis because he's going to be leaving soon and he hates pictures of himself and never wants to be the center of attention. So Shannon and I thought it would be a good idea to honor Louis with at least having a couple pictures of him hard at work, even in his last months with us here at the city. And I think that concludes our presentation. Happy
Thank
to
you.
take.
It was overwhelming how much detail that you provided. It stuns me how much you get done in such a short period of time. We're now going to open it up for public comments. And Nate, if you would take that away.
Thank you. Speakers need to be identified prior to opening public comment on the previous presentation. We have allotted a maximum of 15 minutes for public comment on this item, and each speaker will be allotted time is dependent on the total number of speakers. However, the maximum time is 3 minutes. If you are in the chamber and you would like to make a public comment on the previous presentation, please stand or raise your hand. If you are online and you would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand feature or press *9.
We have one comment in the chambers.
We have no public comment online. Person in the chambers, please make your public comment and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Shelly Schmidt. I am the new NCIP rep for Casanova Oak Knolls. And I just wanted to extend my gratitude and appreciation for Shannon and Nate for being at our meeting and opening up the community center there, the park center. Shannon had to answer some questions regarding the park center's hours and opening, not opening. And I just really appreciate her being there because they were questions I could not answer as thoroughly as she did. And it went on for a little bit. So I really appreciate them taking the time after a long day of work to stay at our meeting, which was probably about 2 hours. So I just wanted to thank them and publicly let them know how much I appreciated it.
Thank you, Shelley. Anyone else in the chambers? That's it for public comment, Nate.
Thank you. Public comments closed.
Now we're going to have the review of the potential neighborhood and community improvement program, NCIP projects for fiscal year 2025-26. And this is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Shannon, please.
So while Nate gets this going, it may seem kind of out of order because we are later in this meeting having a discussion about fiscal year 25 NCIP projects. But what we do with the commission is we try and front load you before we go into the next year's cycle of NCIP projects. Those typically are due sometime in February for new submittals by the deadline. So we're looking at fiscal year 2026. And so we give you kind of an update on things that we think could be a priority of Parks and Rec Department and the Commission. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. We will have another agenda item in January or February where we actually present the potential project to you for submittal before the deadline. And then after the deadline, that's when projects come back to you for full review if they're Parks and Recreation related. So tonight we've got one potential project to consider for next fiscal year. So again, those are the neighborhoods in Monterey represented by the NCIP. And what we've continued to do, what our continued recommendation is from staff, is to focus on the safety and updating of existing parks and recreation facilities. The Parks and Rec plan for the overall department identified that the city has a lot of parks and recreation facilities. They're excellent facilities, but the focus needs to be on enhancing and improving existing facilities and not new facilities. And also, so adding amenities to those existing parks, beaches, open space, or if we do add something different, making sure that there's adequate maintenance and operating funds for the project to happen and for capital improvement. So highlighted a section of the Parks and Rec master plan that we particularly are focused on. And Parks and Recreation in the city is a small portion of the city budget, but there's so much that we do. So we've got, 37 parks, over 800 acres, all the facilities, the sports center, the community centers, the sports fields, the courts, all those things. So post-COVID, when we reopened, we focused on community centers and spaces that allowed us to offer multiple programs at one time and with less staff. If we've got one full-time staff person, that one-time staff person can supervise multiple programs in one building versus a building that may have like enough space for one program at a time. So our last focus, which you'll hear about tonight, was our Hilltop Park Center. We are hoping that that is going to move forward. The next focus for us would be the El Estero Park Center. And so that's the project we're presenting to you tonight. And it's really it's the only project we're considering at the moment for fiscal year 2026. We've submitted all of these projects for potential CIP funding. The city budget is limited for CIP, but El Estero Park Center has kind of become the central hub of the recreation division. It's centrally located in Monterey. People know where it's at. We maybe should have considered making some of these changes even prior to COVID because people know we're next to Dennis Menace Playground. Okay, when we used to say, oh, we're behind Dutra, like, where's Dutra? Where is, so it allows us to be, that's our center of operations for customer service, but we're right there next to Solicitor Ballpark. We are able to offer like our gymnastics programs, fencing, dance classes. But the building itself was constructed in 1955 and it's time. And we're looking at the next 20, 25 years. There's been comments in the community about different things that have come up, but we're looking at right now, this building needs an update for us to continue to offer programs for people that want to come into our facility. It needs an update now. We're not talking about, 50 to 100 years when we might be looking at potential sea level rise. The issue is the condition of the facility at this moment. So rehab would potentially be the roof, gutters, downspouts, replacing exterior windows, which are single pane, window treatments, new lighting. It's very old lighting, potential to install an emergency generator. This is the first building in the city usually that they roll out a generator on a trailer because once that power goes out, it kind of serves as a central hub for city staff in the event of an emergency. PD, fire, public works, they stop in and we're able to help assist them. We need a kitchen remodel. We also have to deal with some interior and exterior paint, but also in the past, water-based paint was put over acrylic paint. So we've got peeling. So it's just addressing ongoing maintenance, but also, other issues that we've encountered. Our main exterior door is not ADA friendly. New flooring. The El Estero parking lots itself have potholes and tend to flood during the rainy season. So that's kind of all the things that need to be done. Very similar condition, I would say, to Hilltop, except for maybe without the sinking roof and the termites. So that's why we focused on Hilltop first. And now we're looking at El Estero. And then here's, oops, that's not updated. That's Hilltop. I thought I changed those pictures. Nope, that did not get updated. I'm sorry. Those pictures somehow got reversed. Those are not the El Estero pictures. But we've got pictures of peeling paint and the roof situation. So those are all the things that need to be done. Any questions or anything about?
So this is separate from the playground and the pool? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the playground and the pool is already approved through NCIP like a year or two ago.
Yes. So fiscal
So-
year 24, it's a approved cutoff project.
Okay.
So
So
we're hoping to go to council soon to get that approval for that money to be released so that we can complete that project.
Perfect.
Most of the programs at El Estero have to deal with children, younger children, correct?
Mhm.
And those are pretty much impacted programs. I mean, you have wait lists that. And so I wanted to be clear about that because I think when you're talking about existing buildings, existing facilities and improving those and making them more safe, I think this has to be one of the highest priorities because it's the children. And that's what I think the biggest priority is for the Recreation and Parks Department. So I wanted to be clear that those were the kind of programs that were being impacted for children. Thank you.
And in the past, we had brought you like usually a wish list of projects, but we understand that our wish list for these projects are they're very big, they're very expensive. So we thought it was best to just bring one big project rather than a bunch of projects, including the big project.
Any other commissioners have comments or questions? Okay.
And I would just like to add too that we're trying to be economical because we know the city has other priorities. Like there is a need for fire station improvements. The police department needs a new police station. So we've had plans for El Estero to be completely remodeled. I'm talking a major remodel with like a second floor and all kinds of things done. That is now kind of obsolete. We're talking millions of dollars, and we're just realizing that that's not probably in the future for us to get a brand new or, basically taken down to the studs community center. So we're trying to enhance existing facilities, make improvements, facelift without a full, remodel. That's what we're hoping for.
If there's no more comments from the commissioners, I would like to open it up to public comments. Nate?
Thank you. Yes, if you would like to make a public comment on the previous presentation and you're in the council chambers, please identify yourself. If you are online and you would like to make a public comment on the previous presentation, please raise your hand or press *9 if you dial by phone.
None in the chamber, Nate.
We have no public comment online as well.
All right, thank you. Then we'll close on the public comments and move on to the next agenda item. Approval of minutes. So we have two different minutes that we need to approve. Are there any questions or comments on the first dated minutes?
No.
Okay.
I move to approve.
Thank you. We have a
Both of them.
Both of them, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is unanimous. So we're both the July 10th meeting minutes and the October 9th minutes have been approved. All right, so now we're going to go to public comments. Any person may address the Parks and Recreation Commission concerning an item that is not on the agenda. And There is a 3-minute limit rule. And Nate, if you would go over the process, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, this is time for general public comment. So these are for items not on tonight's agenda. If you are in the chamber and you'd like to make a public comment, please identify yourself. If you are online and you would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand or press *9.
There's 2 in the chamber.
Madam Chair, we have 2 in the chamber and 1 online. So we'll have a 3-minute time limit, and we will start with public comment in the council chambers.
Evening, commissioners and staff. The city of Monterey has a responsibility to put bikes first in the old Capitol site plan.
Can we get your name, please? Name,
Oh,
please.
sorry, Peter Barrage. According to the city's own surveys, next to walking and hiking, biking is the most popular activity among residents. Walkers and hikers enjoy unrestricted access to hundreds of dirt roads and trails in nature throughout city parks. Bicycles and bike riders are prohibited on every one of those trails. Cyclists have zero access to trails in nature within city limits. No, not one trail in nature. What is the city doing to address that inequity? What is this commission doing? Your own surveys also demonstrate that the majority of your constituents want to see a bike park and dedicated bike trails in this plan, not more hiking trails. The old Capitol site is your opportunity to address this inequity and support the stated will of our community by putting bikes first. But back in July, after months of community input, the plan that BFS Landscape Architects shared completely excluded bikes. Not one aspect of the plan included bike resources. Why is the city so opposed to bikes? Why would the city spend $1 on more hiking trails before it dedicates that dollar to bike resources? Using the city budget as an excuse feels like a cop-out. Mountain bike trails don't cost any more than hiking trails. If the city plans to spend $1 million on hiking trails, then it should spend $1 million on bike resources first. Moreover, our greater cycling community is ready to help build these trails. We are ready to help fund this project. We have shared credible research about the benefits of bike parks and mountain bike trails, and we have identified state and federal resources that could save the city time and money. With no disrespect to hikers and walkers, I consider myself both. What are they doing to contribute to this project? To date, their primary contribution has been no bikes allowed. That's it. No pledges to help with planning or funding, no ideas to help the city save time or money. Please consider why they are not at these meetings, literally begging for trail access. Because they don't have to. They already have unrestricted access, and the city is on the precipice of entitling them with even more. Lastly, using lack of parking as an excuse is also a cop-out. There is ample parking downtown, less than 2 miles away, and a safe cycling corridor connecting the site via Iris Canyon Road. If parking is truly a concern, please ask yourselves, how will most hikers access the site? By car. How will most bikers access the site? By bike. Your own survey demonstrates this. In closing, even if we put equitable access and the will of community aside, the reality is more hiking trails will not bring incremental benefits to city government, Parks and Rec, or to our community. Providing a dedicated space for bikes, on the other hand, would be a recreation and conservation multiplier that benefits our economy, natural environment.
We've gone over the 3-minute.
And
Thank you,
community.
Peter. Appreciate it. Anyone?
Those seats. Whoa. Good evening. I'm Lee Whitney from the Glenwood and also representing the Alta Mesa. Michael was not feeling well and needed to leave. Good evening. The old Capitol Park is not a playground park. It's a sanctuary for nature and for the humans who will appreciate nature on nature's terms. It's a park about us. Use, but do no harm. Let's save it because it's going to save us. We don't have too many opportunities to have an open space, an open forested space like that. And these are special areas and they're vanishing too fast. Let's keep the old park open to nature and all those who appreciate it and who want to preserve it. A Disneyland of off-road cycling plan is nice, but this is not the correct location. There are other areas with more acreage suited to fit the bill. Mother Nature's given us a rare, beautiful canvas. And like a painter, we can only do it once. We can't go over and redo it. So pardon the expression, but let's not screw it up. Let's do it right the first time because we don't get that second chance. Nature walks, hikes, school trips, another part of the program. Bird watching, family picnics, plein air painting. Who knew? Volunteer opportunities. The enjoyment of nature in this forested area is endless. Please preserve it. It's the last one, and it's our last chance in the city of Monterey. And at this point, I'd like to wish you all a very happy and safe holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you, Whitney. Lee, sorry about that. Thank you so much. Appreciate your comments. Nate, online?
Yes, the caller ending in 902. Please unmute yourself and you should be able to speak. There you go.
Good evening. My name is Nina Beatty. First, I urge you not to allow bikers in the old Capitol site for nature's sake and out of respect for nature. It's not a track or raceway. Bikes damage trails and bikers disregard rules routinely, as we see daily in our community. Second, the city's wildfire protection plan, forest management, and fuel reduction work is increasing fire danger and damaging nature. I ask you to urge the city to stop and step back from this course of action and consult with independent experts. CAL FIRE faces lawsuits over the lack of science-based theory and increased fire danger and forest destruction they cause. Wind is one of the biggest problems this work is causing. Trees, including eucalyptus, and vegetation are windbreaks, natural wind blocking, mitigation, slowing, and absorbing mechanisms. The stillness of a forest is due to that. But cutting trees down, thinning, eliminating their lower branches, limbing, and stripping vegetation creates tunnels and open spaces where none existed before. You can't start a campfire where there's no open space, but open it up to the air and you get a roaring campfire. That's what this work is doing. Winds can now swirl, flow up and down hillsides and canyons much more so than before, accelerate and strengthen via the Venturi effect. Winds can then carry embers from lower fires, fan existing fires, and aid in fire start, instead of the Jacks Peak fire several years ago that never got going, according to fire officials themselves, and some of that was due to the mounds of pine needles. Limbing takes away the branches which trees rely on for balance. Thinning destroys the interlocking community's roots. The nursery told me that pines, due to shallow root depth, rely on the interlocking roots of the close forest to stay upright, which thinning destroys, which makes trees more vulnerable to falling over onto electrical lines, roads, and buildings, more fire danger. Lush, full forests protect from fire. Fire adaptive is simply not true about our area. Lightning is very unusual in Monterey. Local vegetation takes many years to grow to provide all the benefits to land and wildlife. Stripping promotes more flammable vegetation. Eucalyptus are natural fire breaks because of the water-containing trunks and height. They should not be cut down based on pseudoscience. Water's natural flow and sink in the watershed is destroyed by this work. Rains will run down and erode stripped hillsides, causing topsoil loss, mudslides, and silt going into creeks, harming the watershed. The forest is not broken. Nature is not broken, but humans are breaking it. Plants and bushes are not fuel. They preserve moisture, lower the temperature, and lessen fire danger. They're habitat, food and homes to animals, birds, insects, and reptiles. This work is killing wildlife, such as reptiles, insects, animals, including birds. Everything that can't flee, including offspring and nestlings, is getting crushed by these machines, which is destroying also their homes and food sources. Tourists won't come to see stripped, struggling, stressed forests.
Thank you, Nina.
Nature and
Yeah,
habitat. Where
that's
nature
the
can
2-minute limit. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your comments. Nate, I believe that was the only comment online.
Correct. That was the only public comment online.
All right, then we will close public comments on non-agenda items. Thank you very much. Now we're going to have public appearance items, reports on action. So the recommended to the city council that the park and recreation related proposed neighborhood and community improvement program, NCIP, projects for fiscal year 2024-25 are consistent with the Parks and Recreation Master Plan and provide direction to staff to advise city council. This also exempt from CEQA per Article 19, sections 15301, 15303, 15306, classes 1, 3, and 6, and not a project under CEQA Article 20, section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, section 15061. Shannon.
Okay, so we are here to talk about NCIP projects for fiscal year 2025. This would normally have come to you in September or October. We're not really too far behind. This is scheduled to go to City Council next week, which is why we are bringing it to you, because as part of the responsibilities of the Parks and Rec Commission, it's to review NCIP and CIP projects to advise City Council and make sure they're also consistent with the Parks and Rec plan. So that's what we're here for today. We also have Project Coordinator Reginald Paulding here. If there's any additional questions for NCIP. So for fiscal year 2025, these are the projects that have been recommended by the NCIP program committee. These are the ones that have gone through the voting process, the public input, and voted on by them. So this is their recommendation to City Council. This year, we are looking at about $12.6 million available funding for NCIP, which is a pretty significant amount. That includes the TOT, the fund balance, the contingency balance, puts us right just below 12.6 million. And then what we are doing, again, might look familiar to you, is we are asking the Parks and Rec Commission to look at these projects in the view of safety and updating existing parks and recreation facilities, and also the guidelines of being both economically and environmentally sustainable, and maintain and enhancing existing parks and rec facilities. And also the idea of addressing where is the ongoing maintenance and capital improvement if something new is added to that. I would like to add too that a big part of the Parks and Rec plan is the fact that the city of Monterey is a very healthy community and everyone lives within a 5 to 10 minute walk to some sort of park or outdoor space. And that is a sign of a very healthy community. But we do have a lot to do and a lot to maintain. And everything that we do, whether it's recreation, sports center, or parks, is labor intensive. So while we might have a $16 million department budget, about 75% of that budget is just staff alone. You know, when Louis does have the parks division is the biggest division of the three. And that's because they're maintaining 37 parks, over 800 acres. They take care of every basically green space and all the beaches. And there's just so much that they do. It's so labor intensive. So while we might have what seems like a big budget, we're still a very small portion of the city's general fund. And what we have basically covers just ongoing maintenance. You know, we're able to address something that breaks, but we're not able to address anything that involves replacement, capital improvement. And we're also just faced with the same challenges as everyone else. Utilities are going up, cost of electrical, water, groceries, anything that we do there, we're seeing that as well. So our just utilities is 1.2 of that 16 million. So that's kind of where we're at. So when we're talking about NCIP projects, other things our goal again is to focus on maintaining aging facilities and parks and outdoor spaces. So tonight, there are a total of 9 Parks and Recreation related projects that are recommended by the NCIP committee for approval by the City Council. And that would mean that these 9 projects would be funded or would be considered, there's 2 that would be considered cutoff projects, I believe, which, you know, are likely to happen usually once things kind of shake out. Those cutoff projects do get funding. But so there is probably 40 plus projects that NCIP, which you'll see in your attachment, has recommended to City Council. But tonight we are just focusing on those ones that are Parks and Recreation related. And so we'll go through the first slide is the elder focused exercise equipment at Laguna Grande Park. This is a very popular project for that neighborhood. But this would bring in exercise equipment that's geared more towards seniors. We're not looking at the hardcore athlete. Hilltop Park Center is also on the list. The replacing and installing the new lights and poles at Solicitor Field. So many of these projects you've seen because we presented them to you, or you've seen them before, and many of them were projects that you guys rated as your priorities. So we did give input already to NCIP of the projects that we think are Parks and Rec Department and Commission priorities. So as we get through the slide, you'll see which ones have been were your priorities. There's also the Ryan Ranch Pickleball Court construction funding, replacing the irrigation, drainage, and turf at Jack's. Next slide. Nate's fixing the Zoom. The El Estero Park large barbecue area shade structure, installing pickleball courts at the tennis center, 2 bike repair stations along the rec trail, and the Cypress Park tennis court resurfacing. So priority project of Parks and Rec Commission number 9 was exercise equipment installation at Laguna Grande Park. There is an area that has been identified that would fit this equipment. And it's a relatively small project but it does enhance an existing park facility. Then there is the renovation of the Hilltop Park Center building. This project is pretty large. There's a lot of maintenance issues that we need to address. There's the roof that needs to be replaced. There's termite damage. There's interior, exterior painting, the HVAC system, the single pane windows, the inefficient lighting. But overall, that center, when it opened in about 1985, was just kind of opened. Not much was done to make it look anything more than like a school. And so it needs some updating as well as just addressing some of the other structural concerns of the building. And that was our number 1 priority project for PRC. So the lights at Frank Solicito Junior Field also were another priority. They were priority number 2. This field is used almost 365 days out of the year. It does have artificial turf, which allows for more playable days. It's the home of the Monterey High School baseball team, but it's also used by us for our recreation softball leagues and our 30 and over baseball. And luckily enough, it's large enough that we can have soccer camp, flag football out there in the outfield. And so there's been improvements to that field over the years, but the lights have not been addressed. And at this point, there's about 13 lights that are not fixable. The equipment is that old that you can't just replace the light bulb. Then this is another project that was recommended by NCIP, but not ranked as a priority by the commission. And this is the Ryan Ranch Pickleball Court construction. So this is a project we would like you to consider, maybe that it is not consistent with the Parks and Rec master plan. And again, that's because it's adding a new facility to our list of amenities, but there's no funding for the maintenance of that and no funding for the, court resurfacing when that needs to happen or anything else that needs to be done. So I think this is a $200,000 project right now, but again, it's adding something new that's going to require a lot of staff time. And when we're not getting additional staff and additional funding for maintenance, it's just stretching us even thinner. Then this project's changed many different times. It is priority of the commission number 3. Ideally, if we had the funding, we would have artificial turf and we would be able to play any sport we wanted there and address the fact that it uses a ton of water. But at this point, we just are desperately in need of tearing up all of the turf, addressing all of the irrigation underneath it, leveling everything back out again, putting new natural turf back down. So this is a $100,000 project. We just met earlier this week with a group that we're hoping to get funding from to help, because it's more than $100,000 to do the work. But at least we'll have a nice field. This is the largest softball field in the city. Solicitor is a ballpark and a baseball field. It has a permanent mound, which you cannot consider an actual softball field. That becomes an obstruction, so it's not considered for competitive play. So like Monterey High School or any competitive sport would not be able to use Solicitor. So, and also Jax is the home currently of Monterey High School girls softball. And it's the primary field that our Pony League is able to use. So, but we run sports camp there. We run our soccer games are there. So it's used by a lot of different groups that serve primarily youth. And we definitely do need to address the turf. And we also want to address the fact that we need to make sure our facilities are equal, that facilities that help boys sports, girls sports should mirror that. And this facility hasn't received the attention or priority that Solicitor has. This is, sorry, got a little bit blocked, but that's okay. This is the Elistero Park barbecue area shade structure. So on the backside of the ball field behind first base is a very large barbecue area. It's the largest in the city. It can accommodate 200 people. The only other areas are one at Veterans, which can accommodate 100, and Whispering Pines, which is 75, but everywhere else is 50. And this has become kind of an ongoing challenge with the birds and the maintenance and all those things. And then there's also occasional balls that kind of fly over the fence. So this is an amenity. It's definitely an enhancement, but it's also addressing safety and a maintenance issue. And then this one here is converting tennis courts 1 and 2 to pickleball courts at the tennis center. And this is PRC priority number 11. We are supportive of this project as well, because this gives more pickleball courts to the city without building new courts. And it also helps improve an existing facility, which is the Monterey Tennis Center, which is right now it's city property, but leased to a group who is very knowledgeable, provides youth camps and instruction. And this would address the need of pickleball space without, again, adding a new facility, but also pickleball is not a fad. It's definitely a trend. It's not going away. So what's the best way to do it is to incorporate it into an existing facility. This is another project that we are not supporting just because of the ongoing maintenance and repair of this, but it's the bike repair stations along the recreation trail. Most bikers are prepared when they ride. They have their equipment that they need. What we're seeing along the waterfront is things like this disappearing. And so it becomes a challenge for park staff to constantly replace and repair. So this is another project. Well, it was recommended by NCIP. We are not supporting at this time because it would involve replacing equipment quite often. Here is another project for our Cypress Park tennis courts, and this is just to resurface the existing Cypress Court tennis court. It was one of your priorities. It was priority number 8. It needs some love and attention for this neighborhood tennis court. And that is it. That is, so tonight we're asking Parks and Rec Commission to take public comment, review the presentation and the agenda report, and then make a recommendation to City Council of, do you support all 9 projects, or do you potentially support 7 of them and want to, consider maybe the Ryan Ranch construction and the bike repair stations as maybe not a priority for the commission and potentially not consistent with the Parks and Rec master plan.
Right now, I think we'll ask the commissioners if you have any questions about this presentation.
Yeah, Shannon, so would the pickleball courts at the tennis center then be private, or you'd have to pay to play there?
They do require, tennis center does have, you have to pay to play. It's still very affordable, like very minimal, but it'd be to pay. But we also have Via Paraiso, which is completely free. And that has 2 tennis courts, 1 tennis court, 2 pickleball courts.
Those would be 4.
So this would be, they might actually be able to fit, they're thinking they might be able to fit 6 or more. If they kind of utilize the space very well, they could probably, I think, fit 6.
And the vendor has shared that they're open to considering different, like during non-peak times, maybe having even more affordable or free, couple days a month, or different times where they would offer something even more affordable or possibly free access for people to play.
Do you think that would alleviate some of the pressure in the pickleball in the neighborhoods?
I think possibly. I mean,
Is
right
this
now
still
it's
an
the same groups that seem to travel to all of the cities, and we have a really strong core group that will play in Seaside one day, Via Paraiso one day, Pacific Grove one day, and Carmel one day. There is a big demand, and some people don't drive all over the peninsula, but there's a pretty strong core group that plays all over the peninsula.
Other questions, comments?
The pickleball concerns have been under discussion. It seems like it is on. Maybe I'll turn it this way. We've had years of discussion regarding pickleball, and it's so sad that we don't have the finances to be able to do the Ryan Ranch one. I know we had looked at that site and others. But I guess there is a limit to what we can manage financially for repairs and upkeep. So I guess it remains to be seen what other communities are doing to enhance pickleball spaces. We do a lot. We draw in people from other communities to the sports center. So perhaps it's time to let some of the other communities shoulder the pickleball need. Any further comments on that?
I had a thought and then I lost it. I know Marina is also building some more courts. And then just one maybe caveat to keep in mind is that even if we built the new courts at Ryan Ranch, they're not necessarily going to be free. It's not a guarantee that those would be free. those would also possibly need to be run by a vendor or have a cost associated with them. That would be direction we would need to get probably from the city council or from city management. But we have met with pickleball groups and we did inform them that even if we built the ones at Ryan Ranch, there was not a guarantee they would be free courts. So just something to keep in mind.
Okay, thank you.
In regards to the pickleball courts at the tennis center, have the neighborhood people been made aware of this and have they weighed in at all?
So it's not really in the neighborhood, which is kind of nice. And they actually do play pickleball there already. They have blended lines. So it seems to be a good location for it. We definitely are not recommending like doing blended lines like we've done at any of the other tennis courts, Cypress or Hilltop. We just know that it is too close to someone's house, and we're not gonna recommend that. We've learned our lesson. I will say that I do think the Via Pariso courts are highly utilized. I don't think that there is an overwhelming use of them, that there is like maybe there is some days a bit of a wait, but most of the time I don't think it's unusually busy. What we're seeing is a demand for, well, not a demand, but a want to have a larger pickleball facility that allows people to have tournaments and larger games and activities. And that's where the noise comes in. That's where you do get more traffic. Because the pickleball is a social sport, and there's a lot of interest in having tournaments, games, people coming from other areas to attend. And there are courts, like I think there's maybe one in Cambria that, has multiple courts. There's really large tournaments with, in Vegas and different locations. I think that's kind of the big push, but on the Monterey Peninsula, there's courts in Pacific Grove, there's courts in Carmel, there's at this point 2 courts in Monterey, there's blended courts at the tennis center. The Hyatt has pickleball courts.
Mm-hmm.
Seaside has pickleball courts. Marina, I don't believe, has their courts yet, but they've identified several parks where they will be installing pickleball. So it's not that there is not pickleball across the peninsula. I think it's just that there is not a large tournament type area.
And that's what changed at Via Pariso. That's when that park got overrun, when they were playing on all the courts. And that's why we ended up in mediation and those challenging times. But since we now have limited it, where one side is dedicated to tennis and one side is dedicated to pickleball, it seems to alleviate most of the tension that was happening there.
Other commissioners, comments, questions? Then we would like to open it up to public comments on this particular agenda item. Anybody in the audience want to speak about this? Nate, is there anyone online that might want to make a comment?
If you'd like to make a public comment and you're online, and this is a public comment on the previous presentation, please raise your hand or press *9 if you've dialed in by phone. We have no public comment online.
Thank you, Nate. Last opportunity for the commissioners to make a comment or ask a question. Good.
So with the Hilltop Park, does all of the maintenance requirements that you have laid out to them cover by NCIP, or will you still be needing to do bits and pieces of maintenance past this fiscal year?
It's not 100% covered by NCIP at this point in the recommendation. There is about $250,000 already set aside for the roof project, which they think is going to be a little bit more than that. We are also submitting it again for the next CIP cycle. But the main thing was to start out with at least addressing those ongoing issues that are going to affect the center maybe structurally. So that is the termites, repairing the termite damage, fixing the roof, replacing the rotted wood and those type of things, and then focus on more of the facelift portion But yes, we are hoping that that is supported through NCIP and CIP, and
And that includes sewer, right? Was there
there's
sewer?
a sewer line.
There's some
too.
problems, serious problems with the sewer situation there.
That's it? Okay, we need to make a motion here on approving the, either the 7 of the 9 projects or 9 of the 9 projects. If someone would like to make that motion, please.
I'll make a motion. I motion to approve the 7 projects.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, we're going to review and approve the Parks and Recreation Commission's schedule for 2025. This is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Karen, thank you.
Thank you. I can't believe it's that time of year again to be, I feel like, didn't we just do this? So it's time again. So I think it's been working very well, but of course, we respect your opinion as well that we schedule them for the entire year with the understanding that we may not need to meet every single month. We want to meet at least quarterly, and if we need to, every other month. And of course, if we need a special meeting, we're also open to scheduling that as well. But we think it's really good for us to reserve the council chambers and to get on your calendars with the whole year in advance, and then go accordingly through the year as needed. Anything else that I should add? Do you have any other questions about the schedule? Okay, thank you.
So, no questions on that?
Move to approve.
Thank you so much. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. Public comments on this particular agenda item? Anybody here? Do you have something else?
No, I don't know. Nate was texting, but do we open public comment on this before we took the vote? And then also, do you remember who seconded the motion from the previous vote?
I did.
I did not
Ellen,
open it up
perfect. Okay,
for-
that's perfect.
I did not open it
Justin
up.
made the motion and you seconded. Okay, perfect.
I did not
Okay,
open
we
it up
just,
for public comment on
Okay.
the schedule. Would you like me to do that?
I think we have,
Okay.
we
So-
have to do that, and then you can repeat that vote, but we just wanted to make sure we also knew who
Got
seconded
it.
the last one. So that we don't need to do that.
So we will open up the public comments on the schedule for the Parks and Recreation Commission for 2025. Are there any comments here in the chambers? No comments here in the chambers. Nate, is there any comments online?
If you'd like to make a public comment on this item and you're on Zoom, please raise your hand or press *9. We have no public comment online.
Okay, so then I would ask for the motion again to approve the schedule for 2025 for the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Move to approve once again.
Second,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously passes. And we will go back to staff comments. Karen, if you have any comments you would like to make?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure I communicated to the Parks and Recreation team that they've done so much work and I appreciate everything that they've done. We did have the best summer ever. Thank you so much for the great theme, Nate. And all of our summer camps and programs across the board were very successful. We pulled off another great 4th of July celebration, incredible Halloween events. You know, we used to be able to catch our breath in the fall. We used to get through summer. We used to catch our breath in the fall and then gear up for the holidays and for the new year and then gear up for summer again. So the fact that we have such a robust fall lineup is really quite amazing with the team that we have. With the return of the sold out senior luncheon with adorable themes. I mean, they had like caprese salad in the shape of little ghosts, and their pot pies were like pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns. I mean, it was just really adorable and sold out. The trunk or treat and movie in the park just gets better every year. And the pumpkin plunge is so huge. And the addition of Dia de los Muertos, which is a cultural community-wide event, just incredible to this team. Every time I think we can't do more, we do. The election polling places, we forgot about that we actually are polling places in important elections. So this was really great. We had 2 of our park centers that were polling places this last election. And so I just wanted to make sure that they acknowledge their great work. Parks keeps doing all their great work, from goats to all the NCIP projects. I mean, some of the NCIP projects that get a lot of traction and get done quickly are because our Parks Division is able to take them off of engineering's plate, which is heaping full, and able to take care of those for us. So I just want to acknowledge the team for that. And also thank you for all of your support. Even when we're not meeting, you guys stay in touch with me and you give us your support, and I really appreciate that.
Shannon.
So, I mean, we did give you a big update. Hopefully there's not going to be that much of a gap between, 5 months at a time, but it really, the recreation team, Nate, Rachel, Sarah, Misty, Mallory, Melissa, Chris, Brent, everyone is just, we work so well together. They did such an amazing job this summer. And also that summer camps aren't the only thing that happens. All of our regular programs are still happening during the summer. Like it doesn't stop. And like Karen said, we thought the fall might be a little bit of a downtime. It hasn't been. There's still always something new. And it's just such a great pleasure to work with such a great team. Louie's team, I know they're amazing, and we couldn't do what we do without them. Louie is going to be a huge loss of knowledge, and so that's going to be a transition. And it's just, I'm going to be sad to see him leave. And I think he chose not to be here tonight just because he knew we were going to give him a hard time about leaving us. But he deserves to enjoy his retirement. So, but yes, we wouldn't be able to do the things we do without everyone. And I also like to recognize Reggie and his support, because we wouldn't be able to bring things from NCIP without his assistance. And also NCIP did recommend quite a few projects that were priorities of both the department and the Parks and Rec Commission. So we're very excited to see some of those projects move forward. And yeah, we are just happy to be here, and want to thank the rec team and everyone for all their hard work. So
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Now we're going to call on each commissioner to make a comment before we close out the meeting. So Ben, if you would start, please.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you for this incredible and detailed report and information on what your teams have been up to. I would have, if I heard what that agenda item was, and I would have thought it was an entire year, but that was since we last met. So that's incredibly impressive and really amazing to see what we're doing in the community.
Ellen?
Bravo to everyone, and I really love the Dia de los Muertos. Such a fun place to live. Parks and Rec is just fabulous. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're Justin, please.
Yeah, this was quite the update. You guys covered a lot. It was really exciting. My son was sick, so we didn't get to go to any of the Halloween things. I was really excited to, but it looked really fun, and we're definitely going to go next year. And yeah, the sports center looks amazing. We've been doing Friday nights at the pool after daycare, and it's been really nice to use the facilities. So thank you guys for everything.
Christian?
Repeat on the thank yous, of course, but when is Louis' actual last day? When is this happening?
It keeps getting.
Yeah,
Is it? Okay.
officially like December 30th, but I think his last day of work
Okay,
is
so
going to
he
be
might
like December
sneak in
20th.
In
Yeah.
another meeting or two. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we would love to see him, but as teams change, they evolve, but you guys have given us a foundation and examples to want to continue that legacy. So in Louis' absence, I'm sure we'll carry on, but I also, there's so many things that you guys do, and there's so many events that I'm like, oh man, I missed that one. And of course, always next year, my wife signed me up to do the senior luncheon next week, and I didn't know that there's line dancing. So exciting, a bonus. So yeah, of course, thank you. Awesome job. Well done.
You have to wear your comfortable shoes. And Kathy, please.
Thank you. It was a great presentation. There was a lot of, again, amazed at what you get done. It's great to see, to be part of the NCIP process and to watch us rank them and go through this whole thing. And then to be able to see the fruit of all the labor, and glad that we were able to, work with you guys and help get some of this stuff. It's critical that it gets done. Hilltop's just a mess. So I'm really glad that they were able to. And so when do we find out the final? When is that?
It is going to city council next week. It's on the agenda. So
Okay. All right.
hopefully
Thank
city
you.
council will, November 19th. So hopefully city council is going to approve the fiscal year 25 NCIP recommended projects.
Okay,
But-
great. Well, thank you for your presentation.
Thanks.
I want to thank you for making it so clear as to really where our priorities should be. And, we serve the tots to, the seniors. And I think for a community this size to have this breadth and wealth of offerings from our Parks and Recreation is truly a luxury. It does make for a fantastic community. And I think we have you to thank for that because of all of the amazing offerings that you bring to the community. And I personally feel that the programs that are impacted that have wait lists, those are the ones that should get our attention, that should get our funding, in addition to maintaining the facilities and making them safe. But so I'm really big on El Estero. I want to see the kids have as much as they can. And thank you so much for everything you do. And I do hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I do hope we get to meet again in December. All right. So the next meeting is December 11th, 2024 at 5:30. And if there's nothing else, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much for attending.